I'm Allison Ponthier, and this is SoundAdvice. So I moved for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons I moved was because I was the kind of kid who grew up watching movies and TV shows about New York, and I always felt like I was destined for a big city. I also straight up do not drive, so that was a part of it as well. But I went to New York when I was a teenager a few times, and I just really fell in love with the music scene there. My advice would be go out there. Go to as many shows as you can, meet as many people as you can, build that community, obviously in a safe way. But for me, I got there and I just went to every show and tried to meet as many people as possible. And that's how I really built a community of people that I'm really grateful for. So I grew up listening to a lot of country music, especially a lot of pop country music from the 90s because of my mom. And it's funny, I loved it so much. It was my favorite genre in the entire world. Then I grew up a little bit more and I felt like some country music didn't really represent the way that I felt or didn't really make room for queer people, and I felt really isolated. And so it's funny because now when I wrote Cowboy, my song about coming out and basically my origin story, that was a country song. To me, it's a country song and it's heavily country influenced. And it's because that is the song, that is the sound that I grew up with. So for me, I think country music is one of the greatest genres in the entire world. It's one of the best storytelling genres in the entire world. And Texas and country go hand in hand together. And even though I moved to New York at 20, Texas will always be a part of me. I love Texas. Even though I don't live there anymore, it is a big part of my heart. Classic Home Alone, James and the Giant Peach. A lot of people ask me if I've seen Sex and the City. I have not, which feels crazy, but I promise I'll watch it after this. But yeah, I always grew up loving Broadway as well. I'm a big musical theater fan, and I always had a dream of going there. And when I was 16, I finally went, and have been sold ever since. So. So it's funny. When I started thinking about the visuals of my project, I was like, I don't know what I want it to look like. I don't know what I want the visual world to be. But then I kept texting my friends and my team being like, I love this movie. I love this music video. I love this Broadway show. And there was a through line, and that through line was vibrancy, was camp, was queer history, was Western wear. And all those things didn't feel very connected, but once I started amassing and collecting mood boards of things that just made me happy, I knew who I was and I knew what I wanted to put out there. I really would encourage other artists, if you want to do something unique that's totally your own, literally just start collecting things you love. Don't look to another artist. Don't be like, I want to do what they're doing. Don't be like, it has to be cohesive, because what will make it cohesive is just what you naturally like and what you naturally are. And you can have two things that make no sense. You can make really sad songs and have really silly, campy visuals, and they can go together. Anything can happen. Even though I'm a planner, and even though I love a theme, all of my EPs, the themes didn't come about until after I was done writing. I go through a process where I'm just writing. I'm writing a ton. But my project has changed my life, and I mean that. It has made me more extroverted, it has made me more confident, it's made me love myself a lot more. And I think that's really reflected in the 3 chapters. The first chapter was me just telling my story, coming out. That naturally happened because that's where I was in my life. The second one was about me criticizing myself or looking closer at the things I do that I don't like, and that, again, was just a time in my life. And then the last EP, Breaking the Fourth Wall, is about my relationships with other people. I never really wrote about my relationships with other people. It was always about identity. But again, my project has given me the freedom and the confidence to expand and to look at things that I didn't look at before. So actually, it's funny, even though I'm a planner, they kind of just naturally happened. And then after this, I am hopefully going to do a big girl project. I've been doing some unreleased songs on tour and at All Things Go called Handsome and Everywhere is in Texas, and those are 2 songs that I would be honored to have on a debut record. So I wrote Lie Detector as the first love song I've ever really made. I've written love songs in the past, but they've never made my album or they've never made EPs because I don't know. I thought I was like better than love songs for a long time, which is just simply not true. I was afraid to put out my feelings. And I thought about it, and that's exactly how I felt the first time I met my girlfriend. I was like, oh my God, she sees me so well. And when you're not using those habits and muscles to be transparent and be yourself, you have to work on it and you have to get used to it. And that's what Lie Detector's about. For me, I just think that growing up, there were no songs that I felt like reflected my experience. Maybe they were out there, but I was very sheltered from them, and definitely no one was talking to me about them. I didn't even know what being a gay person was until I thought I invented it. But yeah, to me, I think visibility is important, but also advocacy, specific advocacy is important. Like specifically for me, trans youth. I may be a lesbian, but I think trans people are the most marginalized in our community, and I think it's really important to talk about how important it is to protect them and for trans people to make their own decisions about their own bodies, happiness, lives. So, yeah. I'm very lucky, so I had people on my team that I sat down and I read every single page of every agreement I've ever signed. Also, my girlfriend is an absolute gem, and even though she's not particularly in the music industry, she took a college class on the music industry while I was going through all of my agreements so she could support me, which is the cutest thing in the entire world. But honestly, I asked a lot of questions, and it can feel really scary to ask questions when you don't even know what to start to ask. But I would say that the music industry is like not very intuitive on the business side. Do not be afraid to ask people. Don't be afraid to email people. Don't be afraid to reach out. I just was really, really lucky, and I knew that I needed to know a lot about my own business to feel comfortable. If I could change one thing about the music industry, it would be transparency. I didn't grow up in a town that had a music industry like LA or New York or Nashville. I think that there were so many things when I became an artist that were so shocking to me. I was like, wow, this is so complicated. It almost feels complicated on purpose. To me, I just think transparency is a big part of it. When I was a gigging musician that played like weddings and played like jazz gigs, it's so different than what I do now. But at the end of the day, it's still playing music. I didn't know a lot about my own finances. I didn't know a lot about the rights that I had or what I own, what I don't own. I would really change transparency because I think that shouldn't be information that's gate-kept by people who know people who already have record deals or already have publishing deals. So yeah, I try to be pretty transparent about it because I was that girl who didn't know. I've gotten so much bad advice. I guess one piece of bad advice is if anyone pushes you to make music that you don't naturally make, if they say it's too slow, if they say that it's not a hit, if they say that people won't understand or that it's not like something else enough, they're wrong. The best music you're ever going to make in your life is the music that naturally just comes from yourself. It's not what feels cool, because what's cool is already cool. You have to look toward the future, and the future is something that no one is going to predict yet. So that is the worst advice I've ever gotten.